Hello. It's me again. It's Gmash Speaks with series 002. It's going to be me speaking about exercise. Exercise. It's time for change. It's time to have a life-changing workout. So what I have here, I have put together a series of discourse to take us through one of the pills in the toolbox kit of censuses. And as you can see here, I have actually broken it down into eight sections. Inside this particular clip, we're going to have 8 different things we're going to talk about. So let's get straight into it. Let's get the ball rolling. Okay, there are a lot more 30-year-olds and above taking more pills than food itself. We have more 40-year-olds and above who will have more artificial limbs than ROBOCOP and artificial intelligence combined. There will be more 50-year-olds and above dowsing on pills to pee, and yet more pills to prevent themselves from the side effects of the pills taken to pee. From 60 years and above, there will be a booming and thriving market for a third leg in the form of a walking stick. Guys, what exactly is going on? Why are we creating a new culture of 30-year-olds with abdominal obesity? This is meant to be something we find only with babies. And because babies eat at every given opportunity and they poo as often as they eat. Abdominal obesity is a sign of ill health if found in adults, especially where the poo is just once in a day. I'd like us to listen carefully, and I'm being ruthless here. I understand that. If you have a pear-shaped body, if you have a round midsection, then essentially you are preparing yourself for an early than you know it visit into a box to have you have formaldehyde in your body. This is a concern for me. This is a concern for me. So what I have here is my 9 circles with the biggest circle there, the censuses circle, and I'm stepping us and taking us into the next section, which is going to be the exercise. And guys, why are we not moving? Why are we becoming so convenient with advancement in technology that we are beginning to create human refuse bins with our bodies? And we are compacting ingested food and storing the food in our digestive organs. So here's the thing. Gmash Speaks is setting out to create a new tribe of people who will move. We need to move. People who are going to exercise. And this will be exercises done in the convenience of your home or your office. So stay tuned. We are going to talk about how we can improve our lifestyles, how we can optimize our health. Now, use it or lose it. Your body always hears whatever and everything your mind says. So we got to figure out here, who is the boss in your life? Is it your mind or is it your body? Who is the general in charge? Who is the soldier? When you think good, you feel good. When you feel good, you do good. Guys, take care of your body. It's the only place that we have to live in. So here's the thing. It is possible to live up to the age of 120 years. and still be physically active and healthy? Yes, it is. Life is, for me, what we make out of it. That's the way I look at life. We must keep moving. We must keep going. If you can't fly, then by all means, run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, at least do one thing, crawl. But by all means, we need to keep moving. My favorite book states that those who hope in God will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not get weary. They will walk and not faint. Our bodies are the temples. They are like temples and are to be looked well after. Yes, there is less profit or little profit in bodily exercise. It is that little profit, in my opinion, in my experience, that is one of the secrets to a healthy life. My biological age, 3 years after recovering from my chronic illness, today, as at the 5th of March, is at least 15 years younger than my chronological age. I had abdominal obesity when going through the worst period in my life. I had a higher than required level of put this way, chemicals in my tract, in my gut, and essentially the chemicals are preparing me and my body for an early grave. I had preservatives in my gut, and if you understand how the gut works, preservatives in your gut is one big cause of abdominal obesity. So I'm not pointing fingers at anyone. It's not a finger pointing exercise. It's an exercise to get us to reformat the hard drive of our minds with new software, new programs. Guys, we need to exercise. We need to move. Moving our bodies with exercise is the one excellent way to enhance detoxification. Any purposeful and regulated movement, and by that I mean exercise that will help to increase the blood and the lymph circulation, which will help us to enhance cleansing of our abdomen. The key is enjoying the little exercise that you choose to do as much as possible, and then doing it every day. It's got to be systematic. It's got to be regular. Yes, we do understand that life it does get busy, and sometimes it's hard to fit into or fit a trip, to the gym. So in that essence, or in that case, we will need to adopt a schedule that we can do at home, but it's got to be done every day, or even it could be done around your busy schedule. Trust me, the body, our bodies, the soldier in our lives will thank you. The mind, the mind will thank you for setting out this time. And we know this fact that exercise relieves stress. Okay, if you did not know it, now you know it. Exercise in itself relieves stress. And remember I said in a previous podcast that stress is the biggest cause of doctor visits. I mean, check my third podcast, the one serialized as 001, and the one titled Stress is the Cause of 90% of Doctors' Visits. When you have a high level of dopamine in your body, I mean, that's dopamine, that feel good neurotransmitter. It's that feel good chemical. When you have that, you have a natural drug, a stimulant, then naturally you are on a high. Now, dopamine is a natural hormone in the body, and that's what I'm referring to. I'm not referring to you injecting yourself with dopamine. I take coffee every day. So this means that I'm actually on a high every day, and I have that feel good feeling like you have when you have an orgasm, or when you win a high lottery stake, or when you shoot yourself with heroin. Okay. Or another instance where you get dopamine is when now with the advent of social media, a lot of users get their kicks and excitement when they get likes to their posts. Now that is dopamine being released when you got those feelings. However, as good as dopamine is, an addiction could lead to depression and fatigue when you're not hitting the coffee beans, or when the caffeine in your system leaves your body, which is actually around about 6 hours. Well, I do not feel that deep. You know why? Because the coffee that I'm addicted to has no caffeine in it. Yet it keeps my energy levels on a constant. It keeps me going, and to the point where I'm actually stimulated to hit the gym. And it's either I go to the gym, or I go for long walks, or I go for my habitual 5 hour golf game. And in playing golf, I ditch the golf cart as an excuse for me to exercise. So we're going to discover how to create high energies through using a simple tool, one of the tools in the toolbox of synthesis, exercise, during this GMAS Speaks series. There is an African proverb that says, if there is no enemy within, the enemy without can do us no harm. But before I dive into the next section, that's the E for exercises in our toolkit. I'd like to remind us that during my launch on the 15th of February, you could listen to the podcast on my website. My website is www.gmashspeaks.com, or you could check out my YouTube channel, which is George Mashigo. In that particular in my launch, I did mention that I would like for each of us to have three things on our minds whenever we listen to any of my speaks. And these three things that I would like for us to have, for us to always consider in respect now to this particular series on exercise, are these are the three things. What do we know now about exercising? What do we need to know now about exercising or exercises? And what will we do with what we now know or are going to know about exercises? These are the three things I would like us to have behind our minds as we go through this particular expose or discourse on exercises. So let's get into this. Let's get into sentences. Let us step into the first E, exercise. Fasten your seatbelts and ride with me. It's one of the 9 tools. Okay, it's the second tool in the toolkit box. It's going to create new conversations in our lives. Here we go. Once we achieve this, once we achieve full knowledge and understanding of exercises, we then have optimal 5-star health and wealth. That I can guarantee us. Okay, so into the first E, exercise, which is the second of the 9 circles that we have there. I've highlighted that there with the arrow. Exercise, we have for too long looked at it in a way that it looks like it's a chore, or a hard routine, or to some people an unnecessary evil. However, I'm going to share a different spin to it, one that will move our health to another level, to a higher level. We need to look at exercise as that one aspect of life that we enjoy engaging in because we are socialized with the immense benefit that is in it for us. So there needs to be a mindset shift. It's a matter of rewiring our neurons or renewing our minds in order to facilitate this one activity that will not only transform our physiology but also transform our energy powerhouse. So let's educate ourselves for a minute, and I'm going to share a few things that have worked and have helped me. Now, there are two vital systems in our bodies. We have the cardiovascular and we have the lymphatic systems. The cardiovascular system has a pump, but guess what? The lymphatic system does not. Now, these two systems make up our much needed circulatory system, one for the elimination of toxins, which keeps building up in the body, one to transport and assimilate the much needed body nutrients, oxygen, and hormones, whilst the other system helps in maintaining fluid homeostasis between the blood and tissues, helping in the absorption of fats into the gut and also helping to rid the toxins of waste and other unwanted materials. If you listen carefully, did you just hear me say that both the cardiovascular system and the lymphatic system do one thing in common? There is a common denominator between both systems. If you heard me clearly, you could pause and you could rewind this to listen again to what they do. But going forward, they have one thing in common. And guess what that is? They both help in eliminating toxins. Now I have just one problem with both systems. The cardiovascular system has a pump, which is the heart. Our body is so intelligent. I mean, take for instance the liver. The liver is like it's a vacuum cleaner. Okay? Every organ in the body has a specific function. And the heart is a pump, or better put, two pumps in one. You've got the left and you've got the right. The right side of our heart receives blood from the body and pumps the blood to the lungs. The left side of our heart does the exact opposite. It receives blood from the lungs and pumps it out to the body. But here's my problem, or here's my challenge. The lymphatic system has no pump, yet it needs to carry out its function as a cleanup man for the elimination of toxins which keep building up in the body, in the abdomen, and in the limbs. So guess what the pump for the lymphatic system is? Take a wild guess. Yes, your guess is right. It is exercise. The lymphatic system is our body's sewerage system. It's a sewer, or it's a system that actually clears debris from the body. Now guys, movement, exercise is the way that the lymphatic system does its job effectively. An active lymphatic system will help to reduce your toxic body burden. The body is constantly being burdened with a lot of high toxins. It will help reduce your abdominal obesity. It worked for me. I was obese in the abdomen. I've lost 25 kilograms as a result. So what are we saying here? A stagnant lymph flow leads to waste and toxin buildup. It leads to a weakening immunity, which then leads to a wide range of illnesses or diseases. The lymphatic system is one of the most overlooked, yet a very significant system in the body. We need to pump it through with exercise in order to get it working throughout the body to remove waste from every cell while helping to regulate our immune system. I like to put it this way. The lymphatic vessels act like a giant drainage system for the body that needs to stay clear for it to work properly. Now, we all have homes, so just figure out or just think, put your mind into your home. It's the lymphatic system is like in our home where the drains are clogged. It could be in your toilet or it could be in the sink. Now, if your drains are clogged, you can't get rid of waste effectively. The same is true for our bodies. I will repeat this again in closing. I will try and close on this very soon. A stagnant lymphatic system and flow leads to waste, and it leads to toxin buildup. Again, I repeat, and that leads to a weakening immunity. It leads to a wide variety of health issues. Now consider this in closing. Think about two people exposed to the coronavirus. One with an effective lymphatic system and the other person without an effective lymphatic system. Who do we think will survive the virus? Who do we think will live longer? I leave that question for you to ponder on. It's not commonly said, and I suppose it's not well known, that the lymph, that we have actually 4 times more lymph than blood in our bodies. And the only way we can have an effective lymphatic system is when we force a pump action through movement. And that will be done mostly through exercising. Why take the lift when you can walk up the staircase? Why use the escalator? Why park your car close to the entrance to the mall when you can park your car a bit further so you can take a walk? That makes your lymph pump. It makes your lymph move. Our development and state of being, that is the state of homeostasis, happens and is mirrored in relation to our environment. We develop and exist in interaction with our environment. If the environment we live in is stressed, and it surely is, how do we cope with life? The way our bodies have been socialized to cope with life from when we reach the age of 7 is basically to just tune out. I mean, literally just shut down. And when the body has shut down, when there is no sufficient exercise and movement, then essentially, guys, what we're doing, we're actually shutting down our immunity. We are compromising our energy generator. We are compromising our mitochondria. And effectively, we are shutting down our powerhouse. So I have got to wrap this up. Exercise is what we need. We need to have exercise to get optimal health. Guys, if you are experiencing any two of these, I'm going to mention a few things right now. If you're experiencing any two of the list of things I'm going to mention now, then it means that your lymphatic system is compromised and you are on your way to a more serious illness. These are the things I'm going to mention to you. Bloating around the abdomen, otherwise called abdominal obesity. breast swelling. Okay, so you've got occasional or you've got a cycle of your breast swelling. If you have cellulite, if you are experiencing stubborn weight gain or swollen glands, or you have itchy and dry skin, or you have chronic sinusitis, you have sore throat, you have colds, or you have air issues, or if you have cold hands and feet, and this is the key one, if you have fatigue, that's the one illness that I had, though mine was quite chronic. If you have fatigue, or if you have brain fog as a result of nutrient deficiency, or as a result of sleep disorder, or as a result of bacterial overgrowth from overconsumption of sugar, or from chronic stress, or from depression. And that's the other disease, the other illness that I was diagnosed with. Okay? Or if you are eating too much and too often, or if you have inactivity, or you're not getting enough sleep, or you have a poor diet, then if any of these two are being experienced by you, then it means you have a compromised lymphatic system, and you need to do something about it right away. I'm sure you guys heard me say brain fog, and I don't want to assume that we all understand what brain fog is. So what exactly is brain fog? Simply put, brain fog is a term used to describe mental fatigue. It is the most common complaint with those of us who have fibromyalgia, otherwise called FMS, and chronic fatigue syndrome, otherwise called CFS. I had both fibromyalgia and I had chronic fatigue syndrome. So essentially, I had a severe brain fog. So do we see how a lack of exercise can show up as symptoms such as mental fatigue, chronic stress, and depression? Do we see how we can cure mental fatigue or chronic stress and depression without having to take one pill or one chemical into our body? Do we see what big pharma will not tell you or will not tell myself? And I'll ask you guys one thing as a roundup now. Have you ever heard your doctor tell you on visit to your doctor, let us sit down and draw up a nutrition and exercise plan for you to work with? Have you ever heard that being said? No, but you know why? And this is not pointing a finger to our medical doctors, not by any means. Okay? It's because Big Pharma never allowed any training in medical school to teach that that you can actually use movement or exercise to deal with brain fog, for instance. If they had done that, if they had trained the medical doctors or at that point in time medical students, then that training in itself will keep them out of business. So it's essential to understand that I have introduced to us here one of the pills, one of the toolkits, one of the things you can use to improve on our lifestyle, our life quality. I've introduced exercise. And I'm going to be sharing a series of podcasts giving information or more knowledge on exercise. And these are things that I've learned from others, or information that I have personally used in my life to reverse my chronic illnesses. These exercises, this series of exercises I'm going to share will create a discourse in our minds about how we can optimize our lives, how we can change the narrative in our lives by using the exercise pills daily. And I will implore and ask for us to do this so that we can ensure that we can manipulate and use the knowledge that we share to create and rewire our minds in order for our minds to become the general and our bodies to become the soldiers. Remember my catchphrase: when you think good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you do good. Please check my website www.gmashspeaks.com and also check my YouTube channel, George Mashigo, for the podcast on nutrition. My next podcast is going to be on nutrition. And boy, oh boy, you better put your seat belts on, tighten your belts, fasten your belts. Get abdominal obesity out of your system. It's a disease that wasn't caused by you. It's something you're working in and working through because of the ignorance. Nobody has the right to be obese or to have a pear-shaped middle section. And the next podcast, nutrition, is going to expose and is going to give us information on how we can reverse abdominal obesity. I tend to be hammering on just one disease because I've seen a lot of my peers, a lot of people younger than myself, by 20 years or 10 years or 5 years, having pear-shaped midsections, and that is unhealthy in itself. So guys, thanks so much for your time. And next up is nutrition. Have a good day. Check my launch, which I had on the 15th of March, 15th of February in Burj Khalifa. Listen to the podcast and let's keep tuned. I'll give you another post, another podcast tomorrow. God bless.